Presentation. Let's go. Oh, hey there. I was wondering if you could help me out. I'm looking for Sandra. Okay, great. Sandra, I'm Josh with Lincoln Heritage, and you sent this card into our office requesting information about the Funeral Advantage program. Now, the company, they just sent me out here to go over this with you. It won't take long at all. I just have to get this to you, and I'll be on my way. Where's a good place to sit down? I totally understand that. Like I said, it won't take long at all. I just got to get it to you, and I'll be on my way. Where's a good place to sit? Listen, I know you aren't expecting someone to come out here. Um, I'm the same way, but it's my job to get this to you, and it's my job to get this to you. I've got like 20 other people to see today. Um, the company, they've really been on me about getting this to everyone. This really helps me out. And it's completely up to you what you do with it. And again, it won't take long at all. I just got to get it to you. I'll be on my way. Where's a good place to sit? Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Are you on a fixed income, Social Security, disability? See, that's what this program is for. It's for people who can't afford a lot, but they just want to make sure that there's something in place to take care of their family. Again, the company just wants me to go over this with you. It won't take long at all. I just have to get it to you, be on my way. Where's a good place to sit? Awesome, thank you. Okay, so you're from around here? You lived here your whole life? Oh, okay. So you're from Kentucky. All right. Been there a couple times. Beautiful state. All right. Now, just got some questions to ask. So, Sandra, tell me, what was on your mind when you filled out this card and sent it in to us? Okay. And Sandra, have you experienced a funeral lately? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. When did your brother pass away? Oh man, so it's been fairly recent, 6 months ago. Okay. And Sandra, how did it go? Okay. Okay. And Sandra, was it did he get a burial, cremation? Okay, so it was a standard. It was a pretty standard funeral. Got the burial and everything. And did he have anything in place as far as to take care of the expenses, or was that all on y'all? Okay, so y'all did have to come out of pocket a little bit. Not a little bit, but y'all had to come out of pocket to help pay for everything. Now, Sandra, who will be the person uh, that will most likely be dealing with the funeral home when you die? So your daughter Sarah is going to be the one taking care of everything. Okay. And does Sarah have any experience planning a funeral? Okay. Yeah, it's not something a lot of people, want to have a lot of experience in. So, now, Sandra, have you decided between a burial or a cremation? Okay, so you wanted to do burial, traditional service, and everything. Okay. Now, have you made any arrangements with a funeral home or purchased a plot yet? So you do have a plot. Okay, nice. Do you remember what cemetery that it's in, where the plot is? Okay, awesome, awesome. And Sandra, do you currently have any life insurance that we'll be working with? Okay. Now, do you know if that's a whole life or a term policy? Okay, so you whole life, nice. And exactly how much will that pay out? Okay, so you have a $12,000 whole life policy. That's great. Awesome. So you've already been thinking ahead and planning ahead, trying to make sure that everything's taken care of. That's really great. Now, I'm going to ask you a few health questions, and we're going to see what you qualify for. All right. Now, first and last time, just need to confirm just a little bit of info. Sandra Bullitt. Okay, awesome. And date of birth is 7/8 of 53. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, now on to the health questions here. Now, Sandra, have you tested positive for HIV or been diagnosed by a physician as having AIDS or a life expectancy of 12 months or less? No? Great. And are you currently bedridden, hospitalized, in a care facility, or receiving hospice care? I know, kind of a crazy question. You got to answer the door for us. So obviously you're doing pretty good for yourself. Now, do you have disease of the heart, including heart attack, heart surgery, or congestive heart failure? Can't talk today. No? Awesome. Now, disease of the circulatory system, including a stroke, aneurysm, or been advised to have surgery to improve circulation. This would also include blood thinners if you're taking any. All right. No? Great. Cancer other than basal skin cell cancer. Okay. Nope, to that one too. Good. Disease of the lungs, including COPD or emphysema, other than asthma. Asthma's fine. Nope. Awesome. Now, disease of the liver or kidney, or had an organ transplant. Nope. You've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, dementia, organic brain syndrome, or ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. No? Awesome. Yep. Listen, you're sharp as a tack. Now, alcohol or drug abuse. Nope. Complications of diabetes, including amputation, diabetic coma, blindness, or kidney disorder? No? Okay. And have you been advised, or have you had diagnostic testing related to any of the questions listed above, except for those relating to HIV, for which the results have not been received? No? Awesome. Well, Sandra, we've got no on all the health questions here, and I have to say, you've done a great job taking care of yourself. There are folks that are half your age that answer yes to a few of these questions, so hats off to you on that one. All right, now I'm gonna have you watch a 3-minute video on how the Funeral Advantage program is gonna help your family when you die. While you're watching that, I'm gonna put together a few plans for you. All right, video's over. Now, Sandra, after watching that video, wouldn't it feel good to know that all Sarah's gonna have to do is make one phone call and everything will be taken care of? It's a good feeling. And here's how we do that. All right. So, Sandra, Lincoln Heritage, we were founded in 1963 We're the largest final expense company in the nation, and we have over 1 million policyholders. And Sandra, this right here, this is one of my favorite things about us. Claims paid within 24 hours. We're the only company that pays the money on that day for your funeral. A lot of folks don't realize it, but life insurance companies, they typically take 3 to 6 months before they pay anything out to your family. Now, the problem with that, Sandra, is funeral homes, they've gotten to the point where they want the money up front, and they're not waiting for the money anymore. That's why we pay as quickly as we do. Also, this is one of the only things that Uncle Sam doesn't tax and doesn't get his hands on. So if you choose a $15,000 policy with us, Sarah, she's going to get that full amount, the whole $15,000. And remember, it's up to you where you go. If you move or anything like that, just know that this plan, it goes with you wherever you go. And Sandra, this is really about the peace of mind, knowing that Sarah's not going to have to beg. Sarah's not going to have to borrow any money. And Sarah, she's not going to have to sell anything just to pay for your funeral. And Sandra, when you really think about it, the funeral homes are there for one reason. And what is that? That's right. They're there to make money off of you. Now, right here, this sheet, this is the average cost in a funeral home for a funeral in Tennessee right now. The funeral director's services. Now, Sandra, have you ever heard of that charge before? Most folks haven't, but it's $2,845 just for the funeral home to call the insurance company and then meet with Sarah for a couple hours, going over your plans and what you wanted, and give her a couple bottles of water and send her on her way. $2,800. And the casket, $29.95. Sandra, it costs about $400 to make the casket. Funeral home, they're going to pay about $1,000 to buy it, and they're going to turn around and sell it to Sarah for almost $3,000. That's a crazy markup. And then you've got more. You've got the actual funeral service, $1,350. The hearse and the transportation, that's $1,000. You've got the family car, it's about $200. The grave site, $1,600. Open and close the grave, it's $1,500. The grave liner, which will be your vault, that's going to be $1,495. And then last but not least, the headstone, it's $1,500. Sandra, that brings the cost. That brings the average cost of a funeral to almost $15,000, and that's just the main items. They can get way more expensive. Sandra, tell me, if you were to die tomorrow, how is Sarah going to pay for everything on that day? Yep. But we're not going to let that happen. And here's what we're going to do to make sure that the funeral home does not take advantage of Sarah. Now, Sandra, when you enroll with us, you're going to get your policy in the mail. And inside that policy, there's going to be two things. The first thing, it's just going to be the policy details. So make sure that you put this in a safe place or give it to Sarah so she knows exactly where to find this. And the second thing you're going to find is going to be your final wishes profile that lets you plan out everything ahead of time. And Sandra, when you do that, I believe it does two things. The first thing, it puts you in control so that Sarah has a plan on what to do. And the second thing, that it does, Sandra, see, Sarah, this is going to eliminate a lot of the confusion and stress that she's going to be feeling on that day. And Sarah, she's going to get a phone call, or Sarah's going to be right there with you when you take your last breath, and you're gone. And Sarah is numb, and Sarah's not really thinking clearly. And that is not the time that Sarah needs to be going to the funeral home and making financial decisions. Now, here's what the final wishes profile looks like. When you start to fill it out, first step, Sandra, just make sure you put all your deep personal details on here. The second step, this is going to be Sarah, and make sure you leave us a contact number so we know how to get in touch with her during that time. Third one is going to be the type of service. You said you wanted to do the burial, kind of a more traditional funeral, so make sure you check that right there. And if you want a visitation or a wake, if not, you can also select to do a graveside service. And then step 4, show you that here in just a second, flip that over. Step 5, make sure that you complete this and you mail it back to us. It's very, very important. Now, let me tell you about a story from Buddy and Levon. Now, one of our agents went to Kingsport and visited them, and they wanted a traditional funeral. Now, Buddy was a simple man. He really didn't care what happened as long as it was cheap. That's all he cared about. And Levon wanted to use the funeral home that her family had always went to and used, and that's okay. Perfectly fine. So the agent, he told Levon, said, we're going to use that funeral home, the one you want. But if you let us price shop and negotiate the price for you, we can try and have a little bit more money back for your family when it's all done. Now, Levon agreed, as long as we used that funeral home that her family had always used. Now, a few years later, Levon passes away, and Levon dies, and Buddy calls his funeral advisor and says, Levon has died. I need help with everything. So the funeral advisor pulls up her final wishes and tells Buddy, I'm going to make a few phone calls. I'll get right back with you. So the funeral advisor calls the first funeral home, and the funeral home that Levon wanted to use. Her family's always went there. They said they do everything for $12,500. The second funeral home they called, which was just 5 miles down the road, for the exact same service, exact same casket, they said they would do it for $8,500. Same service, same casket. The location was the only difference. Now the third funeral home that we call said that they would do it all for $67.50. Now, the funeral advisor calls back the first funeral home, the one that Levon wanted, and says, I found somewhere that'll do it for over $6,000 less than the price you quoted. Will you match it? And if not, we're going to call Buddy and we'll let him decide. Now, Sandra, what do you think the first funeral home did? That's right, they matched it. Now, if Buddy would have went in there by himself, they took out $10,000 policies with us, and that $10,000, that policy would have been completely taken by the funeral home, and Buddy would have had to come out an additional $2,500 out of his pocket. Instead, we wired the money to the funeral home that day, and the rest of the money, over $3,000, went back into Buddy's bank account. And it only took us 30 minutes to price shop. Now, I do want you, on the back here, I do want you to check this box right here that says, I want the FCGS to price shop for my family in the time of need. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to call 3 funeral homes in Knox County, and they're going to negotiate the price on behalf of Sarah. Again, I'm going to make sure that they don't get taken advantage of. Again, moving on down, if you want the service with the body present, military honors, if you happen to serve in the military, you can do that. If you want to do a church service, just make sure you put that. Memorial ceremony, if you want to have a memorial ceremony, you can do that. If you want to have a reception, make sure you put that. Whoever you want your eulogy spoken by, you can put that down for us. Music, if there's a song that's just always spoke to you that you want to have played at your funeral, any prayers that you want to have said, like Lord's Prayer or something like that. And then stories, if you got a friend or just a good story that would resonate and kind of make people remember you, you can put that there too. And then your final resting place, you said you've already purchased a plot, so you would just put the cemetery in the name of the cemetery. And again, please don't hesitate on this. Mail it back to us. Now, Sandra, sometimes I will go back and visit clients when I'm in the area, and you honestly wouldn't believe what's still sitting on the kitchen table. That's right. The final wishes profile in the forms. I get it. We're all human. We push things off until the last minute, but don't wait on this. When you get it, fill it out. Make sure that Sarah is protected and she has a plan. All you got to do is just fill it out, and then we actually give you a prepaid envelope to put it in, put it in the mail. We'll get it and take care of the rest. Last thing that you're going to find is going to be this letter. This is that you're going to give to Sarah on that day so that she knows what to do. Now, I'm going to read you a little part from the inside. Right here it says, when the time comes, and before you contact any funeral homes, just call the number on this card. A personal funeral advisor will happily work with the person arranging my funeral and will help manage the details, free of charge. All right. Now, we're almost finished here. Now, Sandra, when Sarah does make that call, she's going to have 24-hour service access. People don't just die 9 to 5. They die on weekends, holidays, and sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning. Just know that when she calls, somebody is going to be there for her. Accidents, they can happen at any time. It's something that you can add to your plan. Sandra, we have the act of war or terrorism. Now, let's say you're pumping gas at a gas station and get hit by a bullet. Sarah's going to get paid $160,000. Your common carrier accident, if you're in a bus, on a plane, anything like that, Sarah, she's going to get $160,000. Now, if your death is ruled an accident, or if you die in an auto accident, Let's say you're on your way to the doctor or something like that. Sarah's going to get $80,000. An accidental death, if your death is ruled an accident, Sarah, she's going to get paid out $40,000. Now, the single dismemberment, this is more for you. If you lose a limb, you'll get a payout of $20,000 to you. And then we've got the transport of the remains. You did say you were from Kentucky, so if your family burial plots are up there, you want to have the service up there, Sarah's going to get $8,000 to make sure that she doesn't have to come out of pocket for any of that. So that's always nice.